Do you think the law treats everyone the same? Listen to how silence in a courtroom gets louder than a shout. New England Municipal Court, morning. On the cinderblock wall. Courtroom rules. No phones. No hats. Respect the court. Fluorescents buzz. A flag's fringe barely stirs in the ducted air. The benches hold a veteran with a cane, a salon owner hugging a receipt book, a school bus driver in a windbreaker scuffed at the elbows. Noah Barrett, 21, slides in wearing a designer hoodie and mirror-bright sneakers. His watch gives a tiny haptic ping. He smirks at the face and palms his phone, screen dark but alive. The bailiff, voice worn smooth by years, says, "Phone away, sir." Noah complies, deliberately slow, then strolls to the lectern. He glances at the ceiling camera and flicks a tiny middle-finger salute low against his thigh, quick as a tick. The nearest row sees. Two older folks exhale like they've heard this song before. Someone mutters, "School kid." The clerk lifts a folder. City vs. Barrett, Noah. Not one slip. 3 from the same night. Radar capture on the River Parkway, 30 over. Red light camera, entered on yellow, exited on red. Still photo, his coupe nosed into a blue-marked accessible space, placard absent, wheels dead straight, as if staying would be quick. Images click onto the monitor in sterile color. The room's murmur rises, then flattens. Noah sets his phone on the rail. From his jacket, a parking badge peeks out. Private club crest, brass foil. His watch chirps again. A discreet banner crawls across the glass. Dad's counsel. Don't engage. I'm calling the clerk. Noah's mouth bends. Am I going to be here long? He asks the air, not the bench. The judge's mic clicks. Mr. Barrett, he says even. In my courtroom, everyone is treated with respect and expected to give it. Noah rocks back on one heel, patience staged, eyes half-lidded. Under the table, the gesture repeats, this time not so hidden. The bailiff catches it and freezes, hand on the rail. The veteran's cane tip taps once, then stops. The judge doesn't raise his voice. He closes the general docket and turns the folder so the caption faces the defendant. We'll separate this matter from the line, he says. 3 citations in a single night, and one more sign you think rules are a suggestion. A bench creaks. The bus driver looks down at his calloused knuckles. The clerk steadies a stack, carbon edges aligned. Phone face down, the judge adds without looking away. Hands visible on the lectern. Noah obeys, the motion slow enough to read as commentary. His watch buzzes, silenced with a thumb. In the held breath after, the only sounds are a chair leg settling and the low, patient hum of the HVAC. Quiet, turning into judgment, all by itself. Let us know where you're watching from, and we hope you enjoy the story. State your name for the record. Noah Barrett, he says, chin up. Then, with a flick of bravado, yeah, that Barrett. The clerk confirms an address in a glass and steel complex by the river. A whisper rolls a row back. Investment bank money. The judge doesn't react. The bailiff doesn't blink. The rules poster on the wall doesn't move, but it might as well lean closer. A sketch of the defendant forms without adjectives. Father. Managing partner at a firm that buys companies the way other people buy appliances. Feed full of watches, late-model cars, rooftop views. In school, notes about disruptive behavior, incidents that vanished after calls from counsel. Lessons absorbed, lines are negotiable, and someone else will carry the awkward part. What those lines cut through shows up in the file. The clerk reads softly. 2 recent warnings voided as a courtesy near a private club. Same family attorney appeared each time. No formal basis entered. The veteran's knuckles go white over his cane, then relax again. From the benches, The bus driver lifts a hand. "Mr. Coleman," the judge prompts. "Yesterday wasn't about a ticket," Coleman says, voice plain. "He rolled up on the corner so my door stopped short of the curb cut. I had a wheelchair kid on board. We had to back and pull and go around his bumper." He swallows. "The boy's dad's here." A man in a baseball cap stands just enough to be seen. The cap's bill is twisted between his palms. Noah slides a glance at them and then at the clock. "I'm not being disrespectful," he offers, cool as a billboard. "I just don't like wasting time." "We locate time here," the judge answers, even. "Yours isn't the only kind in the room." The clerk switches the monitor to a still of the intersection. Blue hash marks, the slope of a curb ramp, Noah's coupe angled into the painted mouth of the crossing. The ADA symbol looks oversized under fluorescent light. Noah's mask thins for a beat. Behind the practiced shrug is a 21-year-old who feeds on reaction. Friends, followers, the private channel where a good sneer earns applause. Lou's face there, and the floor falls out. "Mr. Barrett," the judge continues, tone neutral, "this court protects access. Ramps, red lights, marked stalls, these aren't suggestions. They're how children and elders get through a day without gambling their safety." A soft cough echoes. The salon owner sets her receipt book on her lap, listening like it's a sermon about her own front step. The clerk notes prior courtesies in the record. The sound of the pen is dry and steady. The bailiff's shoes don't move, but his attention hardens by a shade. "We'll address the citations," the judge says, "and the conduct surrounding them." He gestures toward the bus driver and the father. "You'll hear exactly what your choices did to their morning." He nods to the clerk. "Pull the traffic camera from the ramp corner. And, since Mr. Barrett values time, we'll be efficient. Identify the source of any recording from our corridor today." Noah's phone stays face down. His watch is silent now. The room isn't. It hums with the kind of quiet that presses a young man's performance flat and asks for a person underneath. The judge's gaze falls to the phone. Face down means face down. Hands where I can see them. Noah complies, a little flourish at the end like punctuation. As he straightens, he lets the middle finger float, no pretense this time, toward the bench. The bailiff's head turns a degree. The veteran's cane knocks once against tile, sharp as a metronome click. "Mr. Barrett," the judge says, calm but tightened, "do you understand that contempt is an option here? Or do you believe your social feeds outrank this room?" "It's just a gesture," Noah says, half grin back in place. "Gestures speak," the judge answers. "You just made a statement. The record will note it." A whisper from the clerk. A phone held low in the hallway earlier uploaded a clip to a private channel, captioned, "Watch me clown traffic court." The thumbnail freezes on Noah's hand, that quick, obscene flick. The judge's eyes move to the bailiff. "Identify the source. We restrict recording here for a reason." The bus driver doesn't raise his voice. "He was on his screen at the light," Mr. Coleman says. "I waited with the door halfway open. The ramp was right there." He tips his head at the man in the cap. "His boy sat an extra minute looking at a curb we couldn't reach." The father speaks without drama. "He stared at his phone," he says. "Not at us." Noah's eyes drop. For the first time, his posture loses its lean. The hoodie that sold confidence looks like fabric again. "We're done with theater," the judge says, turning the citation stack face down. "We're on consequences." The gallery breathes in together and holds it. The salon owner's pen stops tapping. Somewhere, an old HVAC register hums to fill the space where bravado was. "Two issues now," the judge continues, voice level. "First, the recording, who took it, and why it's online. Second, the corner with the curb cut, what you did and what it forced others to do. He nods to the clerk. Traffic camera for Maple and 3rd. Audio, if available. Pull corridor security stills for 10 minutes before docket. Subpoena metadata from the account that posted the clip. Noah's watch stays dim. The private message that told him not to engage is suddenly worth less than the quiet in the room. You wanted quick, the judge says. We'll be quick. And exact. He looks at the father. You'll have a chance to describe that minute at the curb. To Noah. And you'll listen to it. The clerk's monitor wakes with a soft chime. On screen, a grid of thumbnails, intersection views, timestamps, the hard angles of painted blue. The bailiff steps to the side console and brings the crosswalk feed to the center pane. The first frame hangs. A coupe nosed too far. The bus door a fraction from the ramp. A small hand visible in the glass. Proceed, the judge says. The room leans forward, not for spectacle but for proof. Quiet settles in the way it does right before impact. The crosswalk video rolls. Maple and 3rd, pre-dawn glare on wet paint. Noah's coupe noses over the hatch-marked mouth of the curb ramp and idles there, turn signal ticking uselessly. A school bus eases to a stop 10 feet short. Through the glass, you can see a small hand resting on a wheelchair armrest. The door hangs half open, waiting on space that isn't there. The bus pulls forward, backs, angles. The minute stretches. Freeze, the judge says. The frame locks, blue stripes, the sloped concrete, a bumper too far in. Next, the upload, he adds. The clerk pulls a log. Corridor camera stills show a man in a dark suit holding a phone low, badge on his belt reading House Staff. The metadata audit lands. The clip that hit Noah's private channel came from that device. A second page bears an email header from a PR manager on the father's payroll. Capture confident stance in court. No judge faces. Not spontaneity. A storyboard. A murmur lifts and dies. The bailiff's hand settles on the rail. The veteran's cane stays still. Counsel? The judge asks. Noah's attorney edges forward. There was a temporary medical issue in a passenger's knee, he says. He stopped as close as practicable. The judge slides another exhibit across. Uber trip log, the clerk reads. Drop-off completed 4 minutes earlier on Bay Street. The alibi evaporates like breath on glass. On the traffic footage, a wide shot shows open curb behind the crosswalk. Room enough to stop without blocking the ramp. Noah had chosen the angle for convenience, not necessity. The father of the boy in the chair doesn't look at Noah when he speaks. We don't mind a wait, he says. We mind when someone turns our ramp into a suggestion. The judge nods, eyes on the still frame. Recording restricted means restricted, he says, level. Your staff violated that. Your private channel carried it. And this, a fingertip on the frozen bumper, isn't a misread line. It's a decision. He clicks the screen dark. The projector fan winds down to a soft whir. Then silence. Papers square under the clerk's palm. We're finished proving how it happened, the judge says. Now we deal with what you did to other people's time and dignity. Noah's shoulders settle, the last of the smirk gone. The phone on the rail might as well be a brick. The judge turns from the bench to the gallery and back again. We're not going to litigate your popularity, he says, voice steady. We're going to address your responsibility. He looks directly at Noah. You turned a middle finger into content. You turned a ramp into an obstacle. Who deserves your explanation first? Me or the people who waited at that curb? He waits for an answer, the room holding still as a held breath. We don't do payback here, the judge says. We repair what you broke. Time, dignity, safety. A suited aide appears at the doorway, whispering to counsel, then raising a paper like a shield. The Barrett family will cover all fines and donate to the school district. Charity isn't accountability, the judge replies, steady. Restitution is owed. Character is chosen. We'll take the first. The second is on you. Noah swallows. For the first time, he leans toward the mic, not to posture, but to be heard. I was told to look unshakable, he says. If I apologize, my people call it weakness. The gesture, it was on purpose, for my channel. To show court is nothing. The admission lands without theatrics. The room answers with quiet that feels heavier than noise. Good, the judge says. Truth makes the next part easier to understand. He lays out terms one by one, each like a rung on a ladder. Fines for speeding, the red light violation, and the accessible space infraction, per schedule. Court costs, assessed. Reimbursement to the district for the bus delay, documented by the transportation office. A second stack. Community service at the mobility center. Pre-dawn shifts helping curbside drop-offs. Ramps down, belts clipped, wheels over thresholds. Minimum 30 hours. A third. Mandatory session on ADA access. Short, practical, delivered by the city's disability office. He meets Noah's eyes. Remove the clip from your private feed. Post a single-take message. No logos, no sponsors. Explaining why mocking a court and blocking a ramp isn't clever. It's a hazard. Keep it up for 30 days. And now, the judge adds, the part money can't outsource. You will apologize to Mr. Coleman and to the boy's father, directly, with nouns and verbs. Know if anyone was offended. Noah stands. The swagger is gone. What remains is a young man trying not to look at the gallery and failing. He turns to the bus driver. I parked where your door should have been. You had to juggle a bus because I wanted a faster turn. I'm sorry. He faces the father. Your son stared at a curb I made into a wall. I looked at my phone instead of seeing him. I'm sorry. A breath moves across the benches, not approval. Release. The judge writes, slow and legible. Compliance suspends part of the financial penalties. Failure restores the lot and invites further action. The clerk slides a packet across. Contacts for the mobility center, a confirmation form from the school district, guidelines for the ADA session, a QR sticker labeled Proof of Removal, posting. The bailiff rests a finger on the checklist. Dates are firm. The judge caps his pen. Words are a down payment, he says. Bring the receipt in labor. He sets a review hearing. The gavel doesn't fall. The room itself marks the moment. A shared stillness that says the lesson has begun where the lecture ends. He returns without an entourage and without the shine. No phone in sight. Sleeves plain. The clerk calls the matter. Papers are already squared. Status, the judge says. Noah places a slim folder on the rail. The clerk reads, completion of 30 hours at the mobility center. Pre-dawn curbside shifts logged and signed. Attendance at the city's ADA briefing. Confirmation from the district of reimbursed transportation costs for the delayed route. On top, a QR print linking to a single-take statement, posted and left up. The school bus driver steps forward. He showed at 5:30, Mr. Coleman says. Dropped ramps, buckled belts, cleaned grit off treads after rain. No camera in his hand. He looks at Noah, not past him. He listened. The man in the cap stands just enough. We felt seen, he says. It isn't a flourish. It lands like a level. The clerk passes one more letter to the bench. District letterhead, fresh ink. Update to procedures at Maple and 3rd, she reads. Repainted striping, corner bollards installed, driver training on curb ramp etiquette. The judge scans it, nods once. Good. One morning, many mornings better. He signs, portion of fines suspended for full compliance. Remainder due. The pen leaves a clean trail. A final document appears, an internal memo from a family PR office fished up by a subpoena earlier. Language about aligning humility messaging. The judge sets it down without comment, then looks up. Humility isn't coordinated, he says. It's visible. He turns back to Noah. You flashed a hand that dismissed people. I'd like a different motion from you. One you can repeat without a mic. Bus door cleared. Palm extended. Yes, Your Honor, Noah says. No edge, no wink. Then this court is satisfied, the judge concludes. Conditions met. Part of the penalties lifted. The balance remains, to remind you that time borrowed belongs to someone. The stamp thumps once. Chairs rustle. The flag's fringe sways in the conditioned air. Noah gathers the receipts and the checklist, then stops by Mr. Coleman. Friday? He asks. Early, the driver says, a half smile. The ramp sticks when it's cold. On his way out, Noah passes the rules sign. No phones, no hats. Respect the court. The hallway carries the ordinary sounds of a weekday. Copier whirs, elevator bell, shoes on tile. He pushes the door and is gone, leaving behind a room that feels slightly lighter, like a lane reopened. What lingers is not triumph, but a small, useful change. A corner you can trust. A minute given back to a child at a curb. A habit checked before it becomes harm. Whether that holds when the next crowd gathers and the private channel pings, no order can decide. Only the next quiet gesture will.